Hi, welcome to Printmaking Party. I'm Miss Blue and I'm going to teach you about printmaking today. Printmaking is something that I have a big passion for. I studied it in college and I really love it. I try to teach it to younger ages and older ages. I've taught printmaking to ages from 3 to like 93. So I have a big passion for it, and today I hope that I can kind of bring that passion to you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what is printmaking. Printmaking is where you're literally making a print of something. So we are making a print, we are transferring an image from one thing to another. Now you can cut it out. That's called a relief print, or you can do intaglio. There's a lot of different processes, and today I'm going to teach you some of the small basics of printmaking. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to teach you guys about are wood cuts. So you can do a wood cut or a lino cut. A lino cut is made out of linoleum. It's the same thing that your floors are made out of. And a wood cut is going to be made out of wood. The wood cut, you're going to take a wood block, you are going to draw your image on it, and then you are going to cut it out. So this is a wood cutting tool. They have big ones, you can get small ones, you can get some even smaller than these, or you can get them bigger than these. What you would do is you would cut it out, whatever your design is, then you would ink it. Now what you ink, you're going to see it'll turn black. Everything that you have cut away is not going to print. Everything you have cut away is not going to print. So everything you have cut away is going to be the color of your paper. Everything that is left on top that you have not touched, that is what's going to print. So that should be a black image. This is an example of a wood block that I've done, and you can see even my cut marks. So this is a wood block, and like I said, you can also get linoleum blocks. They also are called rubber blocks. So this one is flimsy, it's thicker, which I like, and we're going to use that when we are doing printmaking. I like it because we can kind of go a little bit deeper when we're cutting, and we don't have to worry about going all the way through. So when we cut, I would say go about halfway. There's also some that are a harder linoleum. There is, I forgot what this is called, but you have green and blue, so you can actually cut on both sides of this, which you can do with this thicker one too. So if you mess up on one side, you can always go to the other side. Now I'm going to show you a lino block that I did, and I have inked it. Now this is not my actual print, but this is what I have cut out and inked up. So you can see that what I have cut away is going to be the color of the paper, and then the black part is what prints. Now every time we print something, it's going to be in reverse. Now every time we print something, it's going to be in reverse. Now every time we print something, it's going to be in reverse. And I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Now another thing that we can do is also use styrofoam. So I bought these styrofoam sheets online. You can make your own styrofoam from boxes that you get from restaurants. So make sure that they're clean, but you can draw in them and then ink it up, and that will also print. So now I'm going to talk about engraving. Now engraving is not something that I personally do quite a bit, but I can show you what you use with it. So engraving, you're going to use a copper sheet, and it looks like this. It's a very interesting process, and you use chemicals to cut those ridges into your block. Now the next thing I'm going to be talking about is an etching. With an etching, what you're going to do is take a hard block like this. This is called resin grave from McLean's, and you would take something sharp and scratch into it. Now what you would do is put the ink inside your scratches and then wipe it off. Then when you put enough pressure with your paper on top, it's going to pick up that ink that is down in those ridges. Now I'm going to talk about monotypes. So when you use a monotype, you are going to make one print. So mono means one. You can use a thin plexiglass like this, or what we're going to be using is something called a jelly plate. Now a jelly plate is very fragile. It's made out of a gelatin,
which is like Jello.
Okay, so this is a small version. We're going to take these off, and you ink it up, and you can do a lot of different processes with it, but you are going to be inking this up and then laying your paper down on top of it to make your print. What I like about these is everyone is different, so every time you do something it's going to be amazing, and if you don't like something, all you have to do is print right on top of it. The next thing I want to talk to you about is screen printing. Now, a screen print is done with fabric, and what you do is you create a design, you pull it through a screen, that's why they call it screen printing, and what it does is it prints. So if you see t-shirts or anything that has like a logo on it, chances are it was probably done by screen printing. So screen printing is probably the most popular. The next thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is something called letterpress. Now letterpress is where you take little letters and you press it into the paper after it's inked. So if you think about things like newspapers, those were letterpressed back in the day. This is a teeny tiny R. I don't know if you can see it. It is that tiny, but you can see it's super long. There's a tiny R at the very end. What you do is you line these up, you ink them, and then you press it. So in the event of a zombie apocalypse, I will be able to print newspapers with my very small print. One thing that you guys are definitely going to need when printmaking is a brayer. So brayers come in different sizes. This is what you are going to use to apply your ink. The second thing I wanted to talk to you about is ink. So when we do printmaking, we use printmaking ink. We may use paint for something like monotypes, but when it comes to actual printmaking, like with wood blocks or engraving, we want to use a good quality printmaking ink. So we apply the ink onto the brayers, and then we push it on to our block. I get my ink, put it on, set it on the paper, rub it, or ink it, set my paper on top, and then rub it. You guys will use Barron's, or you will also use a rolling pin. Now I'm going to show you what we're going to be using. We are going to be using something called a pin press. It's P-I-N press. This is a pin press. This is made by Akua, and they make our inks. So what this is going to do is put pressure down, and we roll it back and forth. So it does have handles on both sides like this, and it's nice because they turn, and you press and push towards the end of your paper, and then I even come back with it. Those are the main things you need to know about printmaking. I hope this wasn't a very long video, and I hope you enjoy your week with printmaking. I hope you love it as much as I do.